the old Explorer.
It's been around and knows the road, so hopefully we've got some good luck there as well. So Pete and I are going to head off in different directions. I'm going to try and follow up on those lines that we saw this morning. Potentially just going to see if we can make some contact with some of the guides and see if there's been any updates on that. Pete, what are you up to?
Well, I've mentioned once or twice, and I might mention once or twice more, but for the next 10, 11 days, up until the last day, I'll be on Karula as a mindset. So I will always be trying for Karula because I think she's got cubs, having cubs, or will have some soon. Up to Bubblesook Dam, and then we're going to head over a little bit towards Aratuza side, airstrip, see what it looks like there. This morning Scott had a great drive. We talked around the fire this afternoon, or sort of late morning when he came to camp, and he was telling me about leopard not seen, but leopard heard and experienced in every other sense. So Shadow is around, as the name suggests. I've seen her only once briefly. I saw Tandi the other day, her sister, so I would love to see her again. So look for her cubs. She's got 2 cubs, and yeah, then take it from there.
Absolutely. It's a little overcast, but it's still very, very warm. It's 32 degrees Celsius, 85 Fahrenheit. It's quite muggy. It's not a fantastic temperature for predators. They'll probably be holed up still in some shade, but as we always say, there's exceptions to the rule. If you've got any questions for us, send us to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can tweet us at #SafariLive during the drive, and Pete and I will try and get to as many as we possibly can. I'm going to head down to Vaiatella Dam on the way and just sort of have a little poke around this area, and then see if I can get some feedback from the guides as well, if there's any updates on those line. Without further ado,
quick look at quarantine. If I get something, I'll take
care.
a shot.
Cheers, big fella. Good luck, and we walk off into another area. I can see already elephant and zebra down towards this dam, so we're in for a bit of a treat there. We've just pulled off the little crest of the hill here, and we'll just poke our nose in and see if we can see anything happening. And then we had that beautiful elephant little encounter with that herd that I'm really, really attached to, that matriarch. She's the one with the broken tusk and a little bit of flap out of her ear. She's a really beautiful female that has given me a little bit of a sort of signal to stay away when I first came onto the reserve back in the beginning of November, and now she's tolerating our vehicle right up next to her, as she did this morning right at the end. It was really beautiful. After we closed down, we sat with them for another 10 minutes, which was quite special, and then we went back to the control center, had a bit of a chat, had some breakfast, and then as we drove out, I drove back to camp with Scott, and that whole herd was under the shade of a big marula tree, and the babies were all lying down in the center, and all the adult females, the mothers and the matriarch, were all surrounding them. So there was this little section of these babies lying down. It was really, really great to see. So hopefully we'll bump into her again and her herd. Some lovely, lovely action over here. So didn't even know this was here, which is great, and lovely thing to start on. We'll just park off. I think they've just coming to the end of their drink, but we'll just see what happens. I'll have a look through the binoculars. It could be the same herd. There's some really interesting stuff happening here, folks. So I'll just get Brian into a nice position, and there's an elephant lying down over there. An elephant lying down in the mud. The buffalo are like, hey, what are you doing in my wallow? Really nice. I'm just going to have a look through my binoculars and tell you if it is the same herd. Yeah, potentially could be, I think. I think it is. There's lots of little ones in there, and you can see one of the young females going over there now to sort of make her presence felt, and she'll probably tell these buffalo to move on. Really nice. This buffalo doesn't even know he's coming up behind there. Might get a little bit of a shock, but the youngsters are going to go over there as well and have a look. So it's right in front of the lodge there. You can see, just beautiful. They're going to have a nice roll around in the mud, and the youngsters. And this is a really beautiful social time for them. Nice bonding session. Look at the little baby there pushing the other one. That young female pushing the buffalo out of the way. then you've got a bull just bringing up that big one there as a bull, I think, yeah. No, sorry, I'm gonna lie. But they're all going off in quite a hurry there. Just trying to figure it. It's a female, sorry. Just looking with my naked eye versus through the binoculars. Thought there might have been a bull trailing at the back there, but it's not. And the buffalo is sitting there a bit, a bit dumbfounded, really. Like what happened then? So that was a quick exit. They're going to push off up there. We're going to drive up that road and catch up with them. Hopefully, we've got our. Now this hippo out in the middle of the pond here is definitely not our injured bull. This is the bull probably that caused those injuries, but he's doing his job. He's doing exactly what he's meant to do, protecting his territory. But there was some females over here recently and with their calves, and I can't quite see them today, so who knows where they actually are. But we went over to Buffelshoek today earlier this morning, and there was a load of hippos in that particular pond, so maybe they've moved over there, and there was a lot of calf action going on, which was really lovely. So we'll just go up and try and intercept these guys along the way, see how we can catch up with them. Not sure if it's the same herd. Just from this distance away, even through the binoculars, they were walking away from us, so it looked a little bit different. There was a different configuration of females in the other one. Whilst I'm heading up this road, if we do come across them, we'll wait with this herd. And just going to cross to Pete because we've got a couple of beautiful kudu bulls, which are one of my favourite antelope, and he's going to tell you more about them. We'll see you soon.
Well, what a start to the afternoon. Elephants down at the waterhole. Might go down there and have a look at them in a bit. Amazing kudu. We just came around here, and kudu bulls, we see kudu cows more often, but the bulls tend to be a little bit more secretive. And to just have 5 big guys like this out in the open, it's almost unusual. I mean, it happens every now and again, and funny enough, when they're out in the open like this, they can be quite relaxed. But what a sighting. One of the biggest antelope. I mean, you get a few species bigger, sable, eland. These guys, the big guys here, like the one we're looking at there, he'd be about in the region of 300 kilograms, maybe slightly less. That's about 650 odd pounds. Put that in perspective, that's 60, 70 kilograms, so about 20% heavier than a lion male. So they're big antelope. Let's stick with them a little bit. There's a few interesting things about their horns. They've got the longest horns of all the antelopes. Follow them along with them for a bit. Longest horns of all the antelope. That's obviously if you measure it along the curve, sort of along the corkscrew if you want. So the horn twists like that, and if you measure it along that line, it's the longest horns. And also, interestingly enough, if you ever find a pair of horns like this out in the bush from a kudu that's passed away, or if you have a look at them, then if you look, oh, look how beautiful. This guy's got spectacular horns, the one on the sort of right hand side there. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's stunning. If you were to look down the, if you want to call it the tunnel of that spiral, so if you're looking from the tip of the horn through the spiral of the horns, you will always see, no matter the shape of the horns, the eye of the animal. And that's always something I found very interesting, and I've looked at, in my life I've probably tested this theory on about anything between 60 and 100 pair of horns, and it's always the case. The logic behind it supposedly is that if these guys are horn wrestling or fighting, which they do sometimes, especially in mating season, it's spectacular, I've seen it a few times, then they can have a little bead, if you want, down the spiral of those horns as they're looking down at the other male. first few times I heard about it, the first time I read about it, I thought it was slightly far-fetched, but once you look at it and once you see these guys in full confrontation, full battle with each other, you can imagine that even that bit of aim, if you want, plays a big role in their success. Oh, look at this guy, he's got spectacular horns. Hey, that's awesome. Oh, sorry, I love good tidings, and today is a good day. We're not supposed to say anything about it, but it is Mr. Fox's birthday, so happy birthday. And it's Thanksgiving in America. Now, Thanksgiving is not something we really celebrate in a big way out here in Africa. We don't have a lot of turkeys. I think that's probably the problem. But Raphael and Laura, guys, so nice to have you on the drive. And Rafi, I haven't seen Rafi the elephant for a while, but nice to have you around. Rafi is making a Thanksgiving potjie. Rafi, for his hand luggage from the bush back to the States, took a little cast iron pot along, which I thought was really cool. And he's cooking in it, guys. Nice to hear from you, nice to have you in the vehicle. Rafi, we miss you, but I'm sure Laura is loving having you back home. Just look at this beautiful scene, guys. Massive marula tree. One of my favorite ever sunset pictures I've taken. You know, in your life you take pictures, and there's a few that come to mind every now and again, was of that tree. And actually the other one that I remember right now is of a kudu bull right here on quarantine, early morning at sunrise with oxpeckers on him. I think if I had to have one favorite antelope, if I had to pick just one, this would probably be it. In Bushman folklore, in many folklores in Africa, but especially in Bushman folklore, the kudu is seen almost as a spirit animal. In their hunts, they celebrate them greatly. If they can hunt them, it is one of the animals they truly celebrate. Partly because it gives them lots of meat, but also it's an animal that can be like a ghost. So that's a real treat. To see 5 big males like this is a very nice treat. Good start to the afternoon. A little bit of a breeze, so it's very pleasant. Even if you're not driving, it cools you down. Of course, one welcome we forgot to do. Very big welcome to Alex, the other Alex, not English Alex, Russian Alex, and Mr. Graham Wallington, the father and visionary of what we're doing right at this moment. So very nice to have you guys in the bush, and Graham, always awesome to have you here. I always say this to all the audience, every one of you joining us in the game drive at the moment. I always say thank you for being here, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do this. But I have to say it in a very sincere manner. Graham, thank you, because without you, we would not be able to do this. Alright, let's go look around. Let me see if those ellies are going to be getting up to anything exciting. Got a nice big herd of impala. We've been watching them a lot. These are the guys that have been having youngsters. So lots of baby impalas. We'll just have a nice slow drive through them here. There's actually babies everywhere now. We are in the full swing of summer. Hello. Here's a little newborn, born sometime today. Both of those actually. No, it's the one with the sore leg. And well, like is often the case, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is it doesn't look like it's in pain, and I don't think it's broken as much as dislocated maybe. So I don't think the animal is in pain as it's hopping along on 3 legs. The bad news is when the time comes, when the leopards or the lions or the wild dogs are around this area hunting, 3 legs aren't as good to run with as 4 legs. So who knows, this one might live for quite a long time, but I think it might be at a disadvantage down the line. Still Still a few females. The one in the back there, for instance, that one still needs to have a lamb. She's not had her one yet. You can see the big belly. But now we're at that stage where more females have lambs than not. And that, of course, is a safety mechanism in itself for the new youngsters. Just the sheer numbers. All legs in the beginning. Amazing markings. Just look at that again. We talk about it often, but the ear tips, the tail, the feet at the back, the metatarsal glands. Stunning, stunning markings. I'll just move from those kudus up towards some impala here. And as we were saying just now, this is the sort of herd of impala that we've spent a lot of time with. At some stage or another, pretty much every day we've seen them. They stay in this quarantine area, mainly to have their lambs. As soon as the lambs are slightly bigger in the next week or two, they will leave this area. But for the next, I'd venture an estimate of at least a week or so, we'll have them around here almost every day. Partly they will attract predators as well when predators are in the area because of all the young animals. But they're at that stage now where there's enough youngsters that the sheer numbers will guarantee survival for most of them. Except maybe 4, but now I've lost sight of the little one with the injured leg that we'll keep an eye out for and keep our hopes up for, but it looks like a long-term injury, which in the wild wilderness like this, where predator and prey have a close relationship and weaknesses are exploited easily, that injury might not be long-lasting, if you know what I mean. All right, we're going to roll down towards, which road should it take? I just want to go, we're right close to camp here. We'll just go past you down to the woodhole. Bobby, hello Bobby, nice to hear from you again. Bobby is asking questions every so often on Twitter today. Bobby's asking if someone can fix the impala's leg. Bobby, unfortunately not. This is a wild place, and to interfere would be, interfering is an interesting concept, and we're not going to go down that rabbit hole of conversation now, but to interfere would just be not right. In other words, then the next thing is, well, what if the leopard is hungry? Do we get an impala and give it to the leopard because the cub is suffering? Or if an animal is injured, do you leave it? Because keep in mind that animal will be eaten. So it really is survival of the fittest, and in this specific case, I was going to say that the predator in the end will fix it. Being gorilla or being one of the young males that need to survive, they will probably catch that young impala at some stage, and that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, injured animals, sick animals, and sometimes it's bad luck, like in this case. But in the balance of things, that's how it all works, and for us to start interfering would be very difficult. So we try and observe and interfere in a not interfere, but partake, if you want, in everything in a non-interfering way, meaning we try and keep poaching at bay, or we don't harass animals, or we make water available. There's more water holes here than would have been a long time ago. So obviously there's some interaction if you want, but we cannot start looking at fixing this one and helping that one, because that would be a very blurry line once you go that route. And also it's just not what this is about. People come here to experience nature at its rawest, at its wildest, and not just in the sense of the animals, but the whole wilderness itself. So that's just, it would be contrary to the sort of the ethos of what wilderness areas are about and what game reserves are about. Although I do feel you, Bobby, in terms of when you see a little animal, obviously you want to help. That's in the nature of us. It's a good thing as well.
Repeat, please, mate. No, they took off into the bush, mate. Beautiful sort of riverine area. Those elephants were actually on a mission. They were once they left that dam, I don't know what the matriarch said, but she said to go, and they took off into very, very thick bush. So really nice just to get a glimpse of them, and we'll hopefully catch up with some other elephant later. We're just going to zigzag our way through this area and see what we can find. As I said, it's a little bit warm this afternoon for predators to be out. So what we'll do is just have a look for some really nice herbivores and anything else you can see, of course. We had a nice chat earlier this morning about ruminants, and just to recap a little bit on that, if you weren't with us this morning, we were talking about how efficient ruminants are. And if you're not sure what a ruminant is, it's an animal that basically has a four-chambered stomach that can regurgitate its food, has the ability to regurgitate its food and chew it over again to get the maximum amount out of that, break that fibre, that plant fibre down, in which the bacteria in the gut breaks it down to a digestible level, turns it into basically carbohydrates, so it's energy for the animal. And plant cellulose is very, very difficult to break down, so they've got a fantastic gut, particularly a stomach, a four-chambered stomach, and that it goes down into that rumen first, that first chamber, and then gets regurgitated up. So it's animals like giraffe, the antelope, buffalo, for example, and they're very efficient, really efficient feeders. And we had a real good look at some dung this morning, which we're going to do regularly. I remember Will telling me about Tara, who used to present on WildEarth, who works for Will now. She had a bit of a fascination with dung as well, and it's a really interesting discussion that you can talk about, because it tells you a lot about the animal. And it used to be my business for about 10 years as a zookeeper. That's what we did. We picked it up, and we were very familiar with lots of different African mammal dung. So you can look at all different types of dung and get a lot of information from it. And you know, when you start to go to the carnivores, it's a very, very different thing, of course. Actually, we go this way. So we put the word out this morning, but for some people it would have been late at night, or for others it would have been out of your time zone potentially, depending on where you're watching in the world. But on our sunrise game drive this morning, I put the sort of word out to any teachers, educators, outdoor learning people, anything that you are teaching children or adults alike for that matter, and you would like to get in contact with us and get your whole class watching, and send us a couple of questions, or send us a question, and we'll try and get to them. Will and the team, there's a great team of, we've got all the team in today there. There's Alex, there's Will, there's Alex again, 2 Alexes. Graham's there as well today, Jason, and it's a great team in the control room, and they will keep their eye out for any school groups that want to contact us. Because that's what it's about, when we can make this contact with this technology from here live to your schoolroom to answer a young person's question. Wow, does that make my heart sing? That's a fantastic thing. Hopefully I can answer the question. We just cruise through the bush here, and you see, you always see the odd buffalo just walking by himself. Sometimes buffalo, he's an old bull, that one, wow. He's an old bull, you can just tell by the size of his boss, and that's the middle part on his horns. I mean, he's not showing us at the minute, but he might turn around. I'll just go forward a little bit so Brian can get a better shot at that. You might shoot. Is that, you can get through there, Brian? Or a little bit more? Yeah, it's tricky. I might just go forward a bit further forward for you, mate, and see if you get a better shot just there. Is that better? Okay. There's a really big boss. That's that sort of crown, that really bulbous part in the middle of their horns there that is really prominent on the bulls. And he could be a bull past his prime. He's been pushed out of any contention of mating and could spend a fair bit of time solitary, but he might join up with some other old bulls as well. You get different groups of buffalo, bachelor groups. You'll get bachelor groups that have got younger bulls that get pushed out of the herd when they're potentially a threat to some of the other bulls, and then you'll get just the that hang out together. 6 or 8 of them, and so just turning the channel down, and just turning the channel down a little bit, the game drive channel, and they'll just hang out together, and there's a lot of safety in those numbers, but he's quite vulnerable, but he's probably been around the block a few times, and you'd have to have a pretty reasonable size pride to take him on. You probably wouldn't have much success with 1 or 2 lions, but 4 or 5 would probably do some business there. So yeah, just back to the kids. Any school groups, please feel free to get a question to us on email, and we'll definitely try and get to it. I'm just going to head down here and have a look. I'm still at a loss about that hippo. Those 2 duiker just sprinted across the road in front of us there. They're another animal that I've only got one good shot of since we've been here this how we do things on a drive, and what we do and why we do it. A lot of the game drive is talking to you about yourselves as well, finding out where you come from, a little bit about you, and then talking a bit about where we come from, a bit of our background. And that's when we're driving through these sorts of times, when we're just driving, we've obviously got our eyes out still, but that's the beautiful social thing about hence questions at WildEarth.tv and #SafariLive. It's a great way to get in contact with us. And we've only got 2 days before Big Cat Week on National Geographic Channel and Nat Geo Wild. Very, very exciting stuff to be broadcasting there, as well as WildEarth.tv and the National Geographic websites. So you've got lots of different ways to be able to watch and stay in touch with us. Now I'm just going to watch my signal down here, folks, because there's a couple of little dips through here, so I want to make sure we stay safe with you. And the guys in the control room will let me know if the signals are looking a little bit dodgy, and I may have to pull up and maybe make a little detour or something like that. But at the moment I feel like we're safe, taking it nice and slowly. And I'm in the jigger, which is nice and refreshing, and it's really nice to swap around, and Brian and I work together a bit as well. It's great to mix up a bit and have a bit of fun and swap the drives around. There. I'm just going to come back to that giraffe and we'll sit with him. Looks like he's feeding. Sorry. Eating. So she's just browsing comfortably there. Another ruminant. Another fantastic, very efficient ruminant that we had a discussion this morning about. There was a really great question from, just can't quite remember the person's name, but they were asking whether a giraffe was a ruminant, and they thought that it was, and then they thought that it was quite inefficient for the animal to have to regurgitate that rumen all the way up. But you know what? That's exactly what they're designed for, and you'll see a big bolus of rumen go into their cheek pouch or into their cheek, and just sort of they chew that over. Exactly what you would see a cow. They'll grind those molar teeth from side to side, left to right, and you've probably seen similarities in domestic animals whenever you've been out with cows, etc. See that little red-billed oxpecker right on the tail there, just picking up parasites and combing their modified beak. Sometimes they'll pick out straight out if it's big enough, but then they'll comb through for not just ticks, but also lice and any other parasitic invertebrate on that animal. You can see the one, I'm just looking, there's one on the left shoulder that's doing that exact thing, is combing, running the beak down through the hair. One on the tail's doing exactly the same thing. There's probably some other ones around. Giraffes will browse, you know, far enough away from each other, but just as long as they can see each other still, that's what their sort of sense of security. And we got asked a question the other day about what's the giraffe's greatest sense or form of defense, I suppose one of the questions was as well, and that is their sense of sight. They have a great advantage of seeing over those trees and seeing from that great height, but if push came to shove, they would use their kicking ability. So he might come into a nice shot for us just here with that beautiful old dead tree in the background. Like stilt walkers, aren't they? Walking on stilts. It's a little bit far away. Still browsing there. They're incredible animals, and we saw some great behaviour the other day with those two, that young male and the old male. So this giraffe's now just moving off, and what we'll do is probably pick up some more giraffe later on. We can sit and watch them for quite some time. They're very, very interesting, and particularly when they start to show some of that behaviour like we did see the other day, called necking, where they, a couple of the boys will be started just sparring their little displays where they drop their head and neck and hit their heads and necks into each other. So Jigger's a little bit different from Zanelli. A little bit of a different box feeling. You've got to just get to know the little nuances of this baby here, but she knows the roads. She's been around and absolutely knows this place back to front. So hopefully we'll have a bit of luck. She knows this place back to front. So hopefully we'll have a bit of luck today with her. I've got my lucky porcupine quill with us. So we'll keep that up front and centre. Riley, what a great question. Riley on Twitter's just asked, what's an ungulate? Well, I use the word because and I do like to explain it. I have sort of talked about it on different drives, but it's really good to recap and just have a refresh on what an ungulate is. Ungulate is the group of animals that encapsulate everything from giraffe to elephant to all your deer, or your antelope, or your pigs, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, and the list goes on. Anything with hooves, anything that actually walks on its toes, and that's what ungulates do. They're walking on their toes. They've got different ways of doing that, and they've got different structures underneath their feet. Whereas, like for example, hooves for impala or giraffe, and then you've also got a fatty pad underneath the back of the elephant's foot, which is all a big fatty pad that expands as they hit the ground. A camel is an ungulate as well. Zebras are an ungulate. And they break them down into even-toed ungulates and odd-toed ungulates. So even-toed being hippopotamus, impala, camels, etc. And then you've got your odd-toed ungulates, which are animals like in other parts of the world, like Brazilian tapir, which is another animal way off in South America. But then you've got zebra. They're an odd-toed ungulate. So it's the family of all hoofed animals, and there's a couple of weird ones as well. Hyrax. I don't know if you've ever seen a hyrax, or some people call them a dassie. They're a very, very small creature that looks like about the size of a rabbit. And the reason for that is they've got a very, very similar foot structure, and all these scientists that do all this categorization and the taxonomy of animals have classified these small animals called hyrax that live right throughout Africa into that family as well. It's a really interesting group of animals that I'm just fascinated with them. So hoofed animals is more of a general word. Ungulates, ungulates, ungulates is what the big group of animals are. I love them. I love them a lot. I used to work with them in captivity in the zoo, and then I've worked with them in the wild a lot as well. And they're really, really interesting. And there's no such thing as just walking up to an impala and looking at it and thinking, oh yeah, it's just an impala. We've seen hundreds of them. We've seen thousands of them. There's very, very interesting things about every individual ungulate and where they've adapted their either behaviour or they've got particular adaptations in their physiology. So in a nutshell, hoofed animals, that's what it is, as you've got your carnivores and your birds, etc., etc. But great question, absolutely sensational question, and thank you for bringing it up. We'll find a gear first, it's always good. So what I want to try and do is just pop my head into Treehouse Dam just to see whether the old bull has come back. I don't know. It happens in the wild. It's a natural thing. They get old, and when they get old, they pass on. We just got a tweet from Pup Equality. Pup Equality, hello. You want to know whether giraffe use the same subsonic hearing or the same hearing strategy or ability as as elephants. So do giraffes use that hearing? Very, very different animals in that situation. Giraffes have got a relatively good sense of hearing, but nowhere near the audible sounds that elephants can hear. They may pick up, they may feel some of the low frequencies that elephants hear, and that's a very, very good question. I don't know if I've ever read anything about that, whether other animals pick that up, but I'm sure they do in some arenas or some areas. But giraffes are a little bit less communicative in the sound area, and the reason being is giraffes actually hardly make a noise. They hardly make a noise, so if they're hardly making a noise, they've probably got not as an incredible sense of hearing, and they use their sense of sight and their height to listen for danger, whereas elephants communicate with each other hugely through that communication, that low frequency. It's well below what we can actually hear. We can hear some of it, we can feel some of it. The vibrations are so incredible. But the answer to that is no, they don't do that. I actually haven't read a lot of information about giraffe hearing to answer any more than that. But I would say that giraffes' hearing is it's as good as one of the antelopes, and probably better because of their elevation. But elephants are quite extraordinary with their communication and hearing. Hopefully that's answered it for you. Got to keep our fluids up here. Okay, we're going to cross to Pete. I'm not sure what he's got, but I'm sure it's something fantastic, and we'll see you just now.
Shots up here. Right, cool. Flies, guys. Welcome this side. It's been a busy afternoon so far. Kudu, impala, elephant, giraffe, lots of things going on, and we've just found a couple of buffalo. Just old boys, what we refer to as dugger boys, just taking life easy next to the waterhole. Well, in the waterhole. Nice way to keep cool. Always good to take a few seconds or a few minutes, even better, when you're at the waterhole, especially if there's something to look at. But you get some great bird life and activity around waterholes. So we're just going to sit a little bit, a few minutes, listen, look at a few things. One of the things on safari, well, many things in life, but safari maybe being the good example for the moment, is to just take time around things. We so easily forget, and I've experienced this with guests over the years as well. You come out on safari, and instead of just remembering why you're here, it becomes a race to find things. You want to find leopard, and you want to find lion, and maybe except for leopard. I mean, that I can associate with. I'm saying that a bit tongue in cheek, but so often
people should just remember just to sit back and just smell the flowers, so to speak. Speaking of smelling, that buffalo has just picked up a little sniff of something, and the breeze is coming straight from behind us, so it's coming downriver. This dam, we're sitting at Twin Dams, is just off the edge of the Mulwati riverbed, and the wind is coming from behind us. The Franklins were calling there just now, and that's one of the important things when you stop a little bit, just to listen. I could hear a couple of Franklins calling, not major alarm calls, but enough that something disturbed them. So you never know what might be upwind from us, and the buffalo might have an idea, but obviously not something bothering him. A couple of oxpeckers there on him. You can see the bird sort of hopping around him. Mainly red-billed oxpeckers. It's on the odd occasion that we see yellow-billed oxpeckers, which is a bird species that is not often seen. And these guys, of course, just busy ruminating, chewing their cud, or chewing a cud. I know Hayden was talking about ruminating quite a bit this morning. For those of you that had the sunrise safari with us, he discussed the different ways of digestive systems, and more specifically the ruminant stomach, which buffalo is an example of. Giraffe that you were just looking at, that's actually the heaviest ruminant. Quite amazing to think an animal weighing well over a ton, 1.5 tons or so in the case of giraffe. In the case of these buffalo, 800-900 kilograms, that's about 1,600-1,700 pounds. And not only are they heavy, but they're also extremely strong. I mean, massive muscle development. You know, any Mr. Universe would give his back teeth to have the kind of muscle construction or muscle build of buffalo. And they do that just from grass in the case of buffalo, just from leaves in the case of giraffe. Pretty amazing digestive system for what they need. I mean, I like omnivores because I'm an omnivore. It's nice to eat all different things, and also the benefits you get from it, the different vitamins and minerals you can get from eating so many things. I mean, we all just take an example, our omega oils, how important that is. Now, that you wouldn't get from grass. So I don't envy buffalo, but it is quite amazing what evolution has come up with for all the different species. Was. We'll sit here for another minute or two, see if there's not maybe some bird life coming in, or other bird life. Obviously the oxpeckers there on the black buffalo. Here, grey lory calling, crested barbet, emerald spotted dove, turtle doves as always. Quite an interesting breeze picking up. I mean, you can see on the water there, you can just see the texture of the water just rippling a little bit. Now for Liam and myself in the vehicle, it's quite nice in terms of the temperature, but I'm not quite sure what it is. It's not coming from the rain direction normally, it's coming from the north, so we've got a northerly breeze at the moment. Right, well, we're going to move off slowly, maybe a question or two, something to talk about en route. We are heading towards the west to Aretusa. We're going to go look at the airstrip area, see what we can find around that waterhole at Aretusa Lodge. And remember, if you have questions, you can send them in two ways. You can, well, I always said telepathy might be a third one, but that's just general conversation. You can email to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can tweet at #SafariLive. If you want to say something or ask something, let's drive around, and I know Walter's got a question for us. Pamela and everyone with Pamela there watching. Always nice to have young minds and young hearts in the vehicle. You guys want to know why Duggar boys, like we were looking at now, are called Duggar boys? They're both just lying in the water, but what very often happens is buffalo love to roll and wallow in thick mud. And we'll see some of those examples. In fact, up at the airstrip where we're going, there's a beautiful pan and it's got these mud wallows around it. And they like to roll in that. And when we build, well, anything really, specific for smaller dwellings, if we're building a small hut, or back in the day, building these rondavels, what we call these round bush huts, you would mix way back when mud and often buffalo cow dung, it was the cement. And that mixture, that mixture of cement is called DAGGA. So, as far as I know, I've never read this, I've picked this up over the years from different guides, because these guys like rolling in that sort of muddy mixture, which in consistency resembles Duggar, which you mix to both, they were called Duggar boys. Whoa, I haven't done this in a long time. This used to be a little side, sort of hoping to avoid a signal dip back there. This used to be our preferred way up here, but a lot of things have changed over the years. I think next time I'll do that way around. Practical aspect, look. Heading west. I've worked here for many years. Head west, man, head west is best. In this case, for the sunset drive, that's where the sunset will happen later on. We'll try as always to shoot a nice sunset. Always enjoyable to take a moment or two on that time. Enjoy the view. Alright, we are back on Yari Main. One of the, this would be the equivalent of the B1 or an interstate or Broadway.
So we might just have a little drop here, guys. We're coming down into a little drainage line. I'm going out. Please bear with me. Sometimes it drops out on this vehicle in this spot, but I'll get through it quickly for you, and then we'll be right back, I'm sure. But elephant action is a better word. Push that tree down with some tender young shoots. So the grass is growing as we speak. The water has, the last millimetres of rainfall or inches of rainfall have just got to get to some safer ground, folks. Okay, that's a bit better. Nice signal. We like nice signal. And you've got to remember that what we do here, and I know everyone knows it, but and I know you all support everything we do. You know, we get these little parts in the topography of the land that, you know, don't just stand by. I just got a call on the game video. The HT copy. Repeat, please, mate. They are on the cheetah cut line, are they? Okay, have you got them visual? What I'm doing, folks, is I'm just listening to Pete is talking to them now as well. And what happened is, yeah, I can hear Pete talking to them now. And what's happening is, there's one of the guys is inquiring about the pride. Thanks, Pete. Standing by. He thought that I was with the Nkahuma pride last night that Pete was with, so he's asking me where I saw them last, but I didn't actually see them last. So Pete just stepped in and told them where he saw them going. I thought that they had them. I thought that they had them quite close. So we are just going to head up here and probably carry on a little bit and just see what we can find. The signal drops out occasionally just because we come down in these little low points, and we've got these amazing masts, big antennas right up on these hills, and they do a fine job, but there's occasional time where all the stars don't align, all the colours of the Rubik's Cube aren't on the same side for those masts and our antennae, and we just drop out for a second, but we get back straight away. That's the brilliant thing about having two vehicles, is we can just go from one to the other if that does occur. But we know you all support everything, and you're right behind us on all that. And sometimes it's just a matter of just standing by and we come back. So we just go up here and we head across Quarantine, and I just want to have a look over a Sandy Patch Road area where we sort of saw those 5 male lions this morning. Some ellies in there. Wonder if they're my friends. Wonder if they're our friends. Wonder if that's the herd from this morning. Can't quite see from here. There's a lovely, I'm on a bit of an angle here for Brian, I do apologise. Yeah, we're sitting on a bit of a hill, but there are elephant just in there. So they're a little bit hidden by the vegetation. They may start to walk this way. We should probably sit here for a bit and see if they walk onto us. And that's the beautiful thing about positioning yourself where we are. If they decide to walk forward, then they will accept us or move around us depending on how they're feeling. And they dictate the moves. And that's the beautiful thing. You're not driving in. They are coming through this way, so we might have a nice little encounter on our hands here. There's a lot of babies in there. The herd this morning definitely had its fair share of babies. So let's just see how. It's trying to recognise this female, one tusk. Have a little closer look through the binoculars. We've got a fair few of them around us, folks, which is lovely, and they're probably going to walk onto us, which is a lovely position to be in. That's a beautiful shot. So the fantastic thing about the situation we're in right now is that these animals then can get used to us. They're not showing any signs of uncomfortable sort of behaviour. If this is the matriarch, we can have a bit of a look now. We just have to sort of identify some of the individuals in the herd. She will let us know whether she's happy or not with us being here, and we'll get a good indicator of that very quickly. She's absolutely fine. If I was having an educated guess here, I'd say she could be pregnant as well. Yes. Yes. I just got an email from Josh, and Josh is just questioning what I said this morning. Some nice behaviour just going on here. These two individuals just behind this bush here having a little bit of a tussle. They're going to move back. Josh, I'm definitely coming to your question, but just watch this. A little bit of standoff here. Two young bulls just having a little bit of a push and tug. He's about 1 metre away from us at the moment. So come on, boy. So come on, boy. So come on, boy. So come on, boy. It's okay, my boy. It's okay, my boy. Very close to our vehicle, folks. Touching the vehicle. This is beautiful. Very gentle. Absolutely superb. That's what Safari Live is all about. That's what it's about, folks. Being right there, right now, and having that beautiful young bull come up and touch our vehicle. No threat whatsoever, just investigating. We're ready to be more interested in having a little battle with each other. Look at this, this is brilliant. So this is two young sort of teenagers having a little bit of a push and a shove and showing each other who's a bit stronger than the other. This is great to see. So they're just sort of experimenting, you know. This is what they're going to do when they're older. They're going to be doing that ferociously towards each other, and at the moment they're just sort of having a little sparring match, really. Just a bit of a push. This one's using the tree as a bit of an assault weapon here on the other one. A little bit of a standoff now. and then go back to eating. So they might, oh, there we go. You can hear the clash of that ivory. Pushing him back through there. And one will come out of this a little bit more dominant than the other, and a little bit stronger in his mind, and you know, they'll probably just feed next to each other straight after this. But it's a great thing to see these young bulls doing what bulls do, and that's learning how to win a battle, because eventually the one that wins the battle will be the one that gets the right to mate with the females. It's a bit hard to see, folks. They've gone right behind there. I might just, shall I move up a bit for you, Brian? Just get into that little clearing ahead of us here. Oh, hang on, they're coming back into this area here. A lot of pushing and shoving going on here. Just out of our shot. We can't really move here, folks, because we've got vegetation both sides, but they might come back into shot. Quite a good wrestling match here. Lots of posturing and swaying and legs swinging and tails and ears, and they all mean something. They're all little idiosyncrasies that the elephants have that make them so fantastic. Pulling off vegetation, throwing it. This one really likes grabbing the vegetation. So the one on the right really likes grabbing a bit of that vegetation and throwing his weight around, making himself seem a little bit noisier and a little bit more impressive, thrashing around in that vegetation. And he's got the other one on a little bit of the back foot at the moment. And you see this with a lot of different animals, but particularly the more, or for want of a better assumption, but the more intelligent. I've seen it with chimpanzees, you know, one that actually uses a tool to make a big noise and wins a short stint of dominance here, being the alpha male in a group. And elephants, they'll use their own techniques as well to be bigger or smarter or stronger than the other. And then sometimes you'll get, you know, it's all about the weaponry as well. That those tusks are definitely what it's all about. And they are upper incisors that continuously grow through their life. They get longer and longer, and they start to slow down as they get to their older years. But then they can reach quite extreme lengths, and it's not necessarily huge tusks more beneficial to the animal. Sometimes they can get so big they can be cumbersome in a battle. But when they're just the right length and right shape, they can be quite the business. I have seen elephants jostling like this before, and the one that's only had one tusk has had the upper hand because he used to use it like a spear. in battle, and he was a big bull and he only had one tusk, and he'd broken the other one off at a very early age, and he was quite the contender still. So they learn to use their tusks and learn to, it's getting a little bit more serious now. Other one pushing the other one back now. Okay. We'll just sit here for a little bit longer. I think they're settling down now. Maybe another minute with them, and then we'll move on. But what a fantastic encounter that was. We have had some beautiful elephant encounters over the last few days, and particularly that one there with that young bull just came up and touched our vehicle. Okay, I think the game is over. I think they're moving off. So, that little encounter with those elephants was quite incredible, beautiful to see, and we're going to just move on now. They've moved back into the bush. I'm going to just pull up here and let this other vehicle pass, because we may stay with these individuals just here a little bit longer and let there's a little bit of jostling going on. There's a couple of young boys in here that are having some great play, and we'll just wait for the other safari vehicle to go past. We might stick with these guys if that's alright with everyone. Hey guys, hey Cedric. Very well, thanks mate. Thanks, sorry for keeping you there mate. You alright? Good to see you mate. Good to see you. That was nice to see, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome, eh?
Yeah, he came right up and right up to the vehicle there. Beautiful. Just had a big sniff, touched the bull bar. Lovely stuff.
Well, thanks
Really
so
nice.
much. I'm going to go past and...
Pleasure mate. Sorry for keeping you there mate.
No, not a problem. I'm going to
Okay.
head off and figure it out.
Okay. Okay, keep in comms mate. Great to see you. Cheers guys. Cheerio. That's Cedric, who helped us out with the lines this morning. Fantastic guy. Really like him. He's such a nice guy. This little boy chasing this elephant up here, chasing the vehicle. This little guy here. Let's move up. Let's move up and see. There's a lot of them coming through here. A lot of elephant. Wow, wasn't that fantastic, folks? My goodness. That young bull came right up and touched the vehicle, touched the bull bar, put his trunk onto the mud guard of the Land Rover. Love it, love it, love it. So lucky. Hello, my boy. It's okay, my boy. It's absolutely fine. We're not here to do anything other than to watch you, my friend. It's absolutely fine. You're a little cheeky chap, aren't you? Little cheekiness. It's okay, my boy. Come on, it's alright. Absolutely fine. Come on. Absolutely fine. No problems at all with us. We're just watching. And you are big and tough, that's for sure. You're going to go up to be a big boy. You can see he's in a little bit of must, which means that he's just got a little bit of temporal gland secretion coming out. And you know, he's just in a little... I'm just going to move on because we've got a lot of them coming up behind us, and I don't want to upset the matriarch there, because if that little boy gets a little bit testy, I'm just going to pull up here, and we can watch these two boys on the right. They're having a little bit of a tussle as well, and then I can keep my eyes on these guys behind whilst you're watching that. And we've got a lot of them passing behind us as well, so they'll come into view and I'll let you know when they do. Ellie, thank you for your wonderful, wonderful comments there. They're very, very kind words. That elephants respond very well to a calming human voice, and well, hopefully mine is calming. But I was just so happy that happened to us just then. That was a really beautiful encounter, to have that elephant come up and touch the vehicle and be completely relaxed and just investigate a little bit what was going on. Yeah, that's got to make your day. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Now, I have to go back. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Ellie, about the Ellies. I have to go back. I think it was Josh's question. Was it control? Can you just remind me? Yeah, Josh. Josh, I'm so sorry, mate. We left you in the lurch there. We had so much going on with these elephants. And we've got a lot going to come through. I'm just going to reposition the vehicle. Josh, I am coming back to you, I promise, mate. Let me just reposition so I can get
behind us.
Yeah, we've got a few different animals behind us, so I want to just show you what's going past. If I can just reposition the vehicle. That's quite nice, isn't it, mate? Is that good? Good for you?
That's good.
Fantastic. Josh, let's get back to Josh. Josh, I didn't actually say that elephants eat their own feces this morning. It might have been my quiet voice at one point, but what I was talking about was elephant feces or elephant dung is quite inefficient when you look at it and break it open. Their digestive system compared to ruminants is quite inefficient. There's lots of sticks and undigested bits in there, bark, sticks, etc. But they have been seen to, sniff and handle, for want of a better word, in their trunk other animals, other elephants' dung, and there's a lot of different sort of schools of thought on that, but potentially the scent of a related animal, or potentially the scent of a female in estrus in season. Some males have done potentially sniff their urine or dung. So no, I didn't say that. So don't be concerned that I'm definitely not eating their own dung. Lovely female just here. That's beautiful. Hello. They're just so calm. Just so beautiful. These are the sorts of encounters that you'll remember forever. Look at that little baby passing through there behind her. It's a bit hard to see, but I might just... Is there any more?
I think that's all for now.
It's all for now. I think it's just like a never-ending stream. Let me just pull up to you so Brian can get a parting shot. There we go. We can see all of those individuals going through there now. Walking off, little baby at the back there, completely comfortable. And what a beautiful encounter that was, folks. So happy about that. Well, folks, I think we'll let these guys be. They've been absolutely sensational and allowed us to be in their presence for all that time. We're going to drive on now. I'm going to not come down, but I'm just on a bit of a high. We'll drive on a bit. How lovely was that? Right? Wasn't that awesome? Gosh, it was just beautiful. Those two bulls jostling with each other, having a bit of a fight, and then they decided to come up and investigate us. Love it, just love it. Elephants, can never ever get enough elephants in our life. You really have to judge the behaviour though, and you've got to keep a little eye on what's going on. Enjoy that moment, but also be careful that you don't upset any of the youngsters. The females, the matriarch, was very, very relaxed with us when she passed. I didn't have any concerns about her. I didn't actually know that individual, but they're so relaxed, and that just comes back to that whole thing about Sabi Sands. Sabi Sands, Juma, Arathusa, and all the other reserves. Animals are so conditioned and habituated. Okay, we're going to cross the peak just now. Thank you, the lucky porcupine quill. It was with us today, and we're going to keep that front and centre from now on. We're going to cross the peak. He's in a very special place, I hear. We'll see you just now.
All right, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to a new space that we haven't been previously. And as always, we thought we'll invite you on, come have a look with us, see what it works like. This is one of our, it might be more than just a rain plan actually, it's such a lovely spot. But if it is raining and we are in the area, we are at the airstrip of Arathusa. I'll show you around just now. But it's a lovely hide that's been built 8 meters or so from the ground. 8 meters, that's about 24 feet, give or take. And there's a beautiful waterhole just down here, which is called Buffalo Pan, if I remember correctly. And Buffalo Pan is was dry up until, my days blur, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, when we had that nice rain. They had particularly good rain in this area, and it's filled up to the brim. So this should be a good place over the next one. In fact, you can even see, looking down on the edge of the water there, the bank where the elephants have been slipping and sliding along. So a good place for big game, warthogs, buffalo, so forth will come and roll here. And at some stage, if we do find something coming down here, we might even come and sneak up here quickly, because it's a lovely view to look a little bit down at the waterhole. Interesting on the tree as well. If you look up the tree trunk, you'll see a few little things that looks like, well, they look like foam nests. And they are exactly that. They are from foam nest frogs. Great tree frogs make these foam nests. And when the tadpoles hatch, they drop down into the water. So it's essential that those nests are above water. And then also further up, there's a bird's nest. You'll see there's another few frog nests there. And then just behind that sort of sticky mess, or mess of sticks, that's from red-billed buffalo weavers. One of the small 5, by the way. And red-billed buffalo weavers make these very messy nests. They have a special impact on the mast sometimes that is so crucial to WildEarth's broadcast. They sometimes clog them up with little thorny bushes and thorny sticks that they use for nest building. So it's a lovely setting, a beautiful place, but more specifically also, it is part of our plan for when it's raining. It's a lovely cover. Just to give you an idea, this is the very typical African thatch roof, so pole construction with grass on it. But then we have VM is also up here to carry all the gear up. I did help, I brought my hat. I'm just kidding, but let's give you a bit of a view. We've got a 360-degree view, everything except this little corner, which is just beautiful trees, which might have bird life in it at some stage, but got a lovely view all the way around. So VM can just show you the view. I can see a couple of impala in the distance, zebra very far away. Today the airstrip is not that busy. Normally, because it's a nice open area, we get good zebra, good wildebeest, and sometimes I've on a few occasions seen great cheetah here. I've seen lion up here, elephant, buffalo. So given enough time, you'll also get some great viewing from up here. So that just gives you an idea of where we are. And everything you see, the whole view, there we're looking now sort of towards the southern horizon. That's all Sabi Sands. That's all part of this private game reserve, of which Juma and Arathusa form part of. Sabi Sands Game Reserve. It's got many different sort of parts to it. And in the greater picture, part of Kruger National Park. So everything you can see at the moment is wilderness. Good bird calls around. Just looking, it's always great when you've got an open area like this. At any second, something can pop out of the underbrush or out of the tree line into the clearing. But I think for now, our main objective, which was to test this, there's a few impala in the distance, just to see what it looks like. I think I like this a lot. This is going to be beautiful. If it's raining, you're going to see the rain coming in from far away. You're going to see the puddles of water around the area, maybe some wildlife, you never know. A lot of animals, zebra, blue wildebeest, even impala, things that like open ground. They like this kind of terrain when it gets a little bit tricky weather-wise. So you never know what we might see up here, but I do think, and I hope, we are going to spend some time up here again with you, and I know you're the same. Every person, when you're in a game reserve, everyone wants to spend a little bit of time up in the hide looking at the wildlife. But I think for now, will you guys just let me know? But I think we might go back to HT. Unless something comes out, we'll give you a shot, but we want to get back in the game drive vehicle and go look around. I like this. This is a beautiful place. Oh, did you hear that? Liam? Did you hear it? Guys, just heard a leopard calling far away. I mean, too far to you know, that was 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers away, but definitely just heard a leopard call up towards Zebra Drive area.
We're just coming down onto one of our favourite areas, Sandy Patch Road. Hence the name, it's quite sandy. Wasn't that fantastic? Brian and I are on a bit of a high at the moment. That little encounter with those elephant were just magic. When that and you could just read the accent. Let's have a look. He put his trunk in the bar and on the yeah, that was one for today. Enjoyed that immensely. The lucky porcupine call, Brian. Super stuff. It's one of the greatest pleasures in life when you're watching wildlife in Africa, folks, to sit with elephant. Because they, you know, we always love big cats, of course we do. We love all the predators, they're really interesting. But, you know, to be frank and completely honest, you've got lions pretty much inactive for nearly 20 hours a day. You've got a very small window there. And when we do see them, we're really happy to see them lying flat and sleeping and rolling over. Of course, there's something special about seeing interaction in a family group. You know how excited you get when you see lions? When the lions all wake up and the youngsters or even the adults, they go up and they do that beautiful head rub with each other. It makes us, you know, it makes your heart sing. But when you only see it for a short period and you might have waited for like 2 hours to see them move, sometimes just sitting with elephants is like this incredibly relaxing, beautiful experience where there's so much going on. You've got females that are looking after their offspring and either suckling them or just have them in eyesight or in their vision and know where they are, doing their job, doing what mums do. They look after their youngsters, they're browsing along there and just keeping a general eye over things. I was just saying to Brian, you don't often get matriarchs or adult females coming up to a vehicle like that. They're more interested in just, not always, there's always exceptions, but they're more interested in just getting on with the job and leading the group into safe eating areas and looking after everyone. Well, you get these youngsters, and it doesn't have to be just boys, it can be young females as well. But the boys get a little bit more investigative with you, and you know, they're sort of learning about life a bit as well. they're learning about how they've got to be when they're adults, and yeah, experiencing things and experimenting, testing the waters a little bit, and that's what that boy did then. And you know, he was about a late teenager, maybe a little bit, maybe 15, maybe to 17 or something. Yeah, it was a fine time. That was a really cool thing, and Brian and I, and hopefully you all enjoyed that as well. And thank you for all your lovely comments and questions, and we're going to see what else we can see around the next corner. Wow, lovely stuff. It's a good day in Africa here. Lovely. Have a little look around here. Little dwarf mongoose ran across. Okay, we'll just have a look. I was just looking at this area because it's a little bit of an open area here, and it does lend itself to predators, but particularly I don't want to just restrict that area to our looking for cheetah. Cheetah do love more open areas to hunt in, but not always. I've seen them in different habitats all over Africa, and they will do what they've got to do to get food. They prefer this sort of thing, or even open plains, but it's not always the case. So I like to just stop and have a little bit of a look, because you're going to see cheetah lying flat. It's just a tail up in the air like line, and you really got to have a bit of a scan. So I just like to stop and have a little bit of a quiet look around here, and Brian's got a bit of an elevated position there, which is always a great thing. So Brian and VM are our eyes in the sky, and excuse me, just always worthwhile stopping for a bit of a look. So okay, lovely temperature, and cooling down beautifully for a bit of predator activity. We are now at just before 5:45 our time, which means we've got a whole hour and 15 minutes left, which is always exciting when I look down at my watch and I see the time hasn't flown by. So and we'll just keep just want to stop and tell you a story, folks. It's definitely worth mentioning, and as a dad, I connect with this story hugely, and I think it's worth sharing. Something quite special about you know, what we do on a daily basis out here. There's loads of people that follow, and there's loads of people that support us, and there's loads of people that work really, really hard on this. And when you do get certain stories through, they can really touch your heart, and can make you realise that what you're doing and what the team's doing and what everyone that's put the work into this project, it can change people's lives. And there's a story about a little girl. It's the daughter of Lorraine in Michigan, and this little girl has Down syndrome, which is a very special need. And this little girl has never spoken, and she was very, very enthusiastic about animals, and used to watch animals with us on the waterhole cameras. We've got a series of waterhole cameras around that many of you know. And Lorraine's daughter crawled onto her knee one day whilst and said the word hippo. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So, pretty incredible story. So folks, we're just going to cross the peat for a bit, if that's okay, and we'll see you just now.
All right, well, we have clambered down the steps. That's a combination of steps and stairs, because they are wooden steps which would make them almost like stairs. So we went down the steps, and we are now at Buffalo Pan, and there's a couple of giraffes that looks like they might come down for a drink. So we're just going to sit here for a bit. This is such a pretty picture. This is such a lovely waterhole, you know, very photogenic if you want. It's got a nice round shape, the dead tree in the middle. I love this waterhole, and it's only got water in during the raining season. This is not a permanent waterhole in that sense. It only has water for about 6 or 8 months of the year. There in the background you can see the giraffe just coming through. We're going to sit tight. I do think that they are coming down for a drink. Looks like about 4 of them. It's getting later now. The sun would be going towards the horizon if you could see the horizon. In this case we can't. Still have that sort of overcasty feel to the afternoon, but I don't think we're going to have to worry. Well, in fact, I'm pretty sure we don't have to worry about rain between now and end of drive. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. But for the moment we're all good. And then of course from the top in the hide, even though it was far away and difficult to say exactly where, we did hear the leopard calling. And difficult to say exactly, because do keep in mind both male and female leopard do call. More likely that would be a male if I had to guess. The female leopard in this area mainly is Shadow, quite a shy leopard. She also has 2 cubs, so there isn't really much reason for her to call. Whereas the dominant male in this area, which should be, well, mainly Tingana. I think Lemula also moves around here sometimes, but Tingana should be the dominant guy. I was just chatting with VM earlier when we were driving along, while you were on drive with HT, saying that we haven't seen leopard for a few days now, and that we're sort of building up to it again. You do get them a little bit in waves, it's with the general movement of them. So it's about time that we've got the big males moving around the area again, scent marking, vocalizing, as we heard one call earlier. So maybe later today, maybe early evening, we'll see how it develops. I'm going to take a slow approach to the afternoon for the next few minutes. Maybe not for the whole drive, don't worry. If something happens, if there's action somewhere, we'll get there. But for now, this is a lovely scene. These giraffes are heading this way, even though they're hiding behind the tree at the moment. So, get to enjoy the view. Let's see what happens in the next few minutes. Well, this is turning into a bit of a journey of giraffe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why did I think I thought I saw another one? Yes, 6 and counting. Beautiful when they move. Giraffe, also notice the legs. They walk with the left legs and the right legs together at the same time. So it's more a pacing kind of walk rather than traditional opposite legs at the same time. And that is because the length of the legs are much longer than the length of the stride. In other words, if they had to walk the traditional way, the way that, for instance, if you think of an impala or think of a lion for that matter, what a view. And there's more giraffe. 1, 2, 3, 6. I thought I saw another one in the back. 7 of them maybe. Think of a lion or an impala. The legs are proportionate to the body length, about the same length or even shorter than the length of the body. Whereas if a giraffe had to walk with opposite legs, that crossover, if you want, would be too much, and they would sort of scissor themselves into a fall. So you find that animals with that kind of body shape, you can compare it to hyenas, for instance. Well, hyenas also often walk left and right side together. And they're loving this acacia, and you can actually see the thorns on the acacia, which is a very important defense mechanism. This specific acacia would be browsed quite heavily because it is on an open clearing next to a waterhole. So things like giraffe, kudu, your browsing animals would normally take a few bites off it coming down to the water. It's also a bit far away. It looks like a sweet thorn, so it does have very nice leaves, and your browsers like them. But if it gets browsed too heavily, then the thorns get bigger first of all, and the thorns help to slow the animals down. They can still eat in there, they just have to be a little bit more careful. And while they're being slowed down a little bit by the thorns, the tree then has the time to start producing tannins. And that can, over time, make the leaves not that palatable, so not that nice to eat. Good afternoon. Sorry, I had my volume down on the radio there. Well, over the last few minutes, this has developed nicely. The giraffe have come out to me. I've actually been surprised. I'm now on an 8, and I think I've just noticed a 9th one in the back. It gets a bit confusing who's where because a lot of them are further back in the brush. But 9 of them in total, 3 of them at the moment, just enjoying browsing on this acacia. Acacia karoo to be more specific, the sweet thorn. And the sweet thorn gets its name from, not funny enough from the thorns because I don't know, I haven't really met many sweet thorns in my life, but from the bark or from the gum in the bark. If you scratch or damage that bark on the tree trunk, you get a gum coming out from it, quite a clear gum, and that is quite high in sugar and quite tasty, quite sweet. In fact, so much so that in the late 1800s it was exported to Europe for the confectionery trade. I think it later they found other easier, cheaper ways of doing it. But that tree gum was actually commercially used even by people. And this is what we've been waiting for. Not waiting for, but as part of the experience. Watching these giraffes, it's been beautiful just seeing them emerging slowly out of the tree line in the back. And now one of the things that if you've never seen this before, it is quite beautiful to watch giraffe drink. This is quite a big female. She'll be about 3.5 meters tall at eye level. That is about 11, 12 feet. So quite a feat, if you don't mind me using that word in 2 different ways. Quite a feat for them to get their head down to the level of their feet to drink water. So as long as you can get your head around the height in feet and the movement of the feet and the head getting down there, I think you're following what I'm saying. To the extent that they've got specific designs, if you want, built into them to help them cope with dizziness. Now imagine if you've got your feet and your head together, or you're standing up. Let me try this again. So if you're standing and you can put your head where your feet are, which we can't really do, only a few of us can, and you were to whip your head up, you would feel dizzy for a split second. Now we're only about 5 or 6, 6.5 feet tall, depending who you are. Imagine being 11 feet tall, dropping your head down as this one's going to do, to the same level, actually slightly lower than your feet, to then suddenly lift your head up. If there was a sudden threat like a lion running at you, you would have a little split second or a second or so of dizziness, and that of course wouldn't be very good for you. So they've got this network of veins just before the brain, which actually swells now. So as this giraffe is drinking, it's getting it's called the reta mirabilis. That area takes up blood pressure, and then when the head is whipped up like we just saw, that blood is immediately available. So no dizziness, and that works well. The giraffe, of course, is not thinking about that. She just wants to get a drink of water, and very importantly, look around every now and again. Make sure there's no predators sneaking up on her. So this again is a great place for giraffe to drink. It's a nice open area. They can see far away. They're not likely to be surprised by anything like lions here. And I'm sure we'll at some stage or another see something like this again. Beautiful setting here. The other giraffe is slowly coming out as well. Excuse me. Oxpecker on the ear. Oxpecker might have to fly off as that giraffe whips the head up. Or not, hold on. It's a tough oxpecker. Last station, come in please. Guys, just want to quickly chat to the game drivers here. Sorry, is it Darby? WildEarth, where's Tingana? Okay, amazing. Yeah, when we were up at the Heidi, we thought we heard a vocalization. It's probably him. Who's on lock there? Okay, great, thank you. Let's look at that, beautiful. As we were saying in the beginning, sorry, that was just a quick radio chat with the guys in the west here. I don't want to preempt anything, but we might be up for a surprise later on. But I just love the collective noun for giraffe, a journey of giraffe. It's probably my favorite. Well, a beautiful setting, Buffalo Pan, I'm sure will surprise us with some more beautiful views down the line. We definitely want to see a sunset from here. This would be one of the places that a sunset will be great from. Just look at that view across looks like a golf course at the moment with this new green grass of summer. And just a lovely view of the giraffe. But another surprise with Hayden. Keep in mind we talked about how they walk with the legs on either side. Have a look if the hyena does the same. We'll see in a bit. Cheers.
Well, Brian and I just happened to be in the area and we thought we'd drop in. We thought we'd just come and say, "Hi, hyena." Oh, that's probably about the best joke you're going to get today from me. We've come down to the hyena den and guess who's here? This fantastic little cub, waiting for his mum. He is just beautiful, isn't he? What a cool little creature. I think Scott mentioned this morning, you're looking at a hyena with all the hair and the beautiful coat and everything, and as time goes on that'll be a bit more scarred and battle-ridden. But at the moment he's just like happy days, waiting for his mum, keeping his eyes out every single move that he hears. He thinks it's her. But it's a really lovely den. And she will probably give birth in this den, we think. She will give birth to her pups and her cubs, sorry, and then she will tend to them down there. Now they normally only have a couple. The range is 1 to 4, but only really a couple survive, and there's a very, very interesting thing that happens when they're born. They're quite assertive with their dominance from a very, very early age. Hours old, they will start to assert their dominance over another cub within that, and even just with those milk teeth that they're born with, they will grab the other cub and shake it by the back of the neck. There's lots of research that's documented this, and it's from pretty much as soon as they come out, 4 hours, 5 hours old, they will start to definitely make their presence known. They're incredible. Josh on email, again Josh, I'm going to get to your question straight away, rather than, unless a hyena comes up and interrupts us. Josh has just asked a very, very interesting question, and it basically is, okay, habituation or conditioning wildlife to be comfortable with us is a great thing for us, but what's it like for the wildlife? Well, I won't be brief, but I won't go on too long because it's a great subject that I like talking about. What the situation is if you change an animal's behaviour to the point that it's uncomfortable, it will move away. There's no doubt about it. It will move into a more comfortable zone and won't be around you. So I suppose it's like the horses before the cart, the way we're doing it. In what I'm trying to say by that is that if we condition and habituate these animals to be comfortable with us, we know that we're not having an impact on them in the sense that we're, well, when I say we know, it's a little bit arrogant to say that. We think that we're not having an impact on them because we see natural cycles of life. We see reproduction. We see animals in good health. We see all natural behaviours, maybe slight modifications where, like, okay, the elephant coming up and touching the Land Rover probably wouldn't be happening in their normal natural world without humans around. But at the same time, none of those, we interact with wildlife all over the world in our daily life, whether it be an invertebrate that comes into our house or whether it be working with wildlife on the level that we do. We are part of the environment, we are part of the habitats, and if we can get into those locations and have a minimal impact, and I'd probably say to a point no impact other than our tyre tracks that we leave, and we are enhancing our knowledge and spreading that good word about how important the balance of nature is. Now, I can tell you now, Josh, from a personal thing from me, if I had a person on this vehicle that had that elephant encounter then, that had never ever encountered elephants and just was growing up in a city and had never had a wild experience like that elephant encounter just then, I'm pretty sure that close encounter would change their whole trajectory of thinking about the environment and habitats. And if we can do that, Josh, and everyone, we're on a winner. That's what this is all about. We can't just sort of judge what the sort of situation is by going and viewing these animals. Not that I'm saying you're judging, Josh, I promise you, but it's a really great question and opens up an interesting debate. But I think with management of wildlife these days, Josh, and everyone else that's listening, you're looking at a place, one of the most successful wildlife reserves in Africa, Sabi Sands, with an incredible reputation and an incredible history of dedicated people that had one thing in mind, and that was the preservation of habitats, species, and protecting them. And if we do that, and we engage with people in this way, what we're doing, and we've got science involved, we've got huge amounts of scientific input on this, people will then be able to gauge whether the impact that we're having is detrimental to the species. And in my books, Josh, I believe that what we're doing is hugely beneficial for the species that we encounter on these drives. So it's a fantastic question, mate, and I really appreciate you going deep there, because sometimes I don't like to bring those things up because they are quite deep, and but they're important. They're the important side of wildlife conservation that you do have to role play and think about both sides of the story. But hats off to you, Josh. Absolutely fantastic question, and hopefully I've sort of given you my opinion, and that opinion is shared with a lot of people I know. How beautiful is that animal? Excuse me, please. I just have to get a drink after that little sermon. Lovely herd of buffalo that Brian's had in shot there in the background, just grazing up. Please excuse me. I think I'm going to have to take a photo of this little guy, folks, if that's okay. I got some photographs of him last night, but he's just in such a lovely little location there. Isn't he just fantastic? Sorry for the background noise and rubs and everything, everyone. I'm just wanting to just get myself in position to take this shot. Waiting for him to bring his head up. He's just fantastic. Maybe... I'm so sorry. Well, we might move on and let this little guy wait for his mum, and I'm sure she'll be back soon. Beautiful little guy. Just having a little drink here before we move off, folks. That was a really nice little encounter and great discussion, thanks to Josh and everyone else that's contributed this afternoon. So just to sort of recap on that, you know, that birth that is imminent with that female, really, really interesting situation goes on in that den, and there's sometimes when the pups get to an age, they will be fighting quite fiercely in there. The mother, because the den sort of tunnel is so small, she can't really get down there very quickly to do things about it, and those little cubs will get into it very, very quickly, asserting their dominance. And when they do it, when hyenas fight, they do this sort of really stereotypical grab at the back of the neck, and they shake each other, and it's very, very hard to watch. But the little pups do that exact thing in that den, and they will assert their dominance from a very, very early stage. So what we might do, folks, is move on and see what else we can see before we lose the light, and say goodbye to our little hyena friend. Thanks, buddy. You're a really cool little dude. Let me just show you this little position he just put his paws in. Look at that. That's pretty cool. He just crossed his legs there. Excellent. See you, buddy. Right. Let's see what else we can find.
As indeed.
Thanks everyone for joining us. And hats. Okay, and I'm going to have to say a big thank you to Peter Pretorius for that, because he found that den. He knew a lot of these old dens from his past work here, and what a guy he is. He's a great man, and he uncovers these fantastic little secrets in Juma and Arethusa Game Reserves. We're going to cross to him now, before I go down this big hole, and he is with some of my favourite creatures. We'll see you just now. Whoa. Whoa.
Well, forward, I had a lovely time with Hayden, and just around the thing, spotted and just wait. One of my apples in the wood. Interesting grouping, so that to stay off more further ahead of this other car. Heard.
Birthday man. Comfort break allowed right now?
What?
Okay, folks, we're just going to head down here. I think Pete's signal has not given him the best possibility of showing you those ellies, so we're just going to head down and possibly get to a little dam down here. But you know what? I've just got this little feeling that I want to go back over Impala Plains at this time of the evening, Brian, and round that way, because not only is it solid signal for us, it's nice leopard territory at this time of the night. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Cool down considerably, folks. And it's a really pleasant temperature now, particularly for our predator friends. Okay, so we left our little impala, sorry, I'm delirious with joy and adrenaline and fantastic things running through me after these encounters that we've had today. We left our little hyena cub, for that matter, nothing like an impala, and we are just going to go up into this area that we have seen Karula, Tingana, Quarantine, and several of the leopards. It's a little fringe area on a few of their territories, so we'll just see what we can see. You never know what's around that next corner. This is the time of the day, folks, where you have to adjust your vision. It's a very, very difficult time of the day for humans to see because the light has dropped to a point where all the colours start to blend, and differentiation for us humans with very, very good eyesight, but it's our trickiest time. And most people would know that when they're driving on dusk or twilight, you get that little zone where you sort of think you see something and you're not sure. Very difficult to differentiate the difference between. So we drive slowly and we just keep our eyes peeled for anything of interest. Very fitting, impala on impala plains. Down here, which is quite a nice little view for a few minutes. We'd like to sit here and just have a little look. It's a lovely. It's not been an amazing sunset today, but it's still a nice view out over there with those mountains in the background and impala and so on. So we might just sit for a second while I have a scan with the binoculars and just have a little look-see. I'm just having a scan, folks, around. There's, you get to a point where if all those impala are there, there's a good chance they would have seen a predator, but we always have a look, and then you just have to have a little look-see on the edges of those herds whether there's a predator potentially waiting. But they've got great eyes and they've got great sensors, and they would let off alarm calls, but at the same time, when you're in the moment, you could be right at that moment when it's all happening. So it's always good to stop and just take a little bit of time and have a look. We'll stick here for a little bit. We're going to cross to Pete, and we've got him back, and he is at Arathusa Lodge Dam, I think, but I think he's got something special for you there. So let's try him again, and I'll come back and we'll see you just now.
Well, guys, welcome back this side. A little bit of a technical glitch, but all is good. And let me just turn down the game drives channels. We are listening to the radio at the moment. In the west, there's a little bit more vehicle activity than down in the area that we are on around Boitella, and we're holding back a little bit now, so that I've let one or two other guys go in front of us that would have normally been after us, because we're building up our as I told them, I'm keeping my chips for Big Cat Week. So we're just giving one or two other guys a chance. There is a big surprise. I'm not going to tell you what it is. We might have heard something about it earlier, if that maybe helps. But can't promise, but good chance it will be 10, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. We must just see how it goes. But in the meantime, We're sitting in a beautiful setting here, the kind of thing people dream about when they come to Africa, staying at a lovely lodge on a stunning waterhole, in this case full of hippos. We're going to have a look at some of the wildlife around it just now. This is Aratuza Safari Lodge, a lovely place, and we like them because, like Moyetela, Juma has been a friend of what we're doing now on WildEarth for a very long time. Aratuza have now come on board as well and said, listen guys, come along and come show people what's going on here. So, beautiful setting, and we've got a couple of these big guys. We're looking for a specific hippo at the moment, that injured one. We do want to follow up and see what's happened. We haven't found him again in the last day or two, but here's a couple of other hippos. In fact, exactly a couple, two of them. And it's funny, they were sort of slowly coming closer to us while we were sitting here, having a bit of a look at us as well. Liam, look how lovely that looks on the left here with it's the spotlight from the lodge reflecting on the water with the hippos in it. I just think that looks really cool. I'm going to just roll forward for you. Let's just do that. There. I like that. The hippo doesn't, but I like it. Guys, there's quite a nice pot of hippo around this area. It's a big waterhole, so it can house a proper family structure of hippos. Oh, look at this. Sorry. Whoa. Look at this VM right next to us. Sorry. Sorry. Hello. Sorry, I got a fright and she got a fright. Both of us got a fright with the other one. I literally noticed this hyena. Peripheral vision is a very important thing, and I just got this, peripheral vision. You actually notice movement first. Just noticed this movement here, and she was like 6 feet away from me. Let's just see where she goes. She's going to walk around the back of us. Big hyena female. So I'm just loving that. Let me just see, they're calling me on the radio. Standing by, Liam, how's it going? Copy, Liam, thank you very much. On my way, I'm leaving a safari open area. There's also one in PC heading straight that way from the open area. Look at that water buck chasing it. Great, thank you. Alright guys, good news. That was amazing. So I just love those kind of coincidences. Interesting to see the water buck chasing the hyena off, doing that very sort of nice little dapper run. Called strutting. You get different forms of strutting. Alright, and we've just got good news on the radio. As I said, we gave space for a few guys to go ahead of us. Then Liam, he's the head ranger at Samabili. Some other guys are a bit away and we should come and see. So stick around, don't go anywhere. If you've got friends with you, maybe this is their first live safari with us, get them to stick around. Haven't seen it, this is maybe a good time to join. Let's have a look here. Look at this beautiful water buck. Stand back. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Liam. Alright. We're going to move along slowly. Sort of slowly. We do want to get some. And it's not that far. We're going through a bit of a donga-ish area, you know, these rivers. So if you do break, please bear with us.
Back with us.
Okay. So, what we've got here, folks, is this little impala herd that we've just been watching. Been quite extraordinary. I think I just want to try and show you what's going on here. There's a definite air of enthusiasm and vibrance in these little guys. We've just been sitting here looking for anything else of interest, and these little impala lambs and some of the older juveniles have been dancing and prancing across in front of us. Incredible, absolutely incredible to watch. We're just going to sit for a second and see if we see the behaviour happen again, because they do this amazing run where they go onto their front legs and then onto their back legs in this really sort of seesaw rocking motion. But here comes one now. Might get going. We'll just keep an eye on them, and it's definitely just an enjoyment, an experiment, and here we go. Here goes one. Look down here. It's a bit hard to get because it's hard to track, and all the youngsters follow these juveniles along. It's very low light at the moment, folks, so we just want to keep the lights off because it's a much more natural setting for them. And these juveniles, here goes one coming through. He might just come through shot. They've just pulled up early. I think they might go again. It's really fantastic to watch. And you know, just when you think, oh yeah, the old impala, we've seen hundreds of them, you see a new behaviour that, well, it's a new behaviour to us showing you. Here comes a couple now. They're starting to get a little bit more frisky now and run around. But it's these little youngsters as well that are strengthening their muscles and building up their ability to run faster and faster. And they're not going to do it now, Brian. Yeah, it was quite incredible to see. Let's just give it another 30 seconds and see what happens. They're all just feeding down there at the moment, and I mean, they're feeding very, very happily, but there's a couple of them that are the youngsters that are running around, and I don't think they go. No, I think. Oh, hang on. Have a look at these ones over here, bro. To the left. That actual sunset, if you want to just pull back a bit, Brian, show everyone, that's actually looking quite beautiful. That's just developed since we've been here, folks. There's this amazing pink glow. So, okay, folks, a beautiful thing to leave you with. I'm going to pass you over to Pete. He's got something really special.
Welcome back. We are right here. They've left a little distance. Let me show you a little bush trick just to build up that anticipation for you. This is something the guides do. Liam, the guy that we just saw further back, as we were coming in, he came out the closest road that he could find from where they were. They were deep in the bush. He left a marker for us, so we know to follow that in. It's not far away. Turn the hand drive radio down. So yes, I think I'm not going to tell you what we're going to see. You will see for yourself. There is something about that first instant when you realize what you're looking at. This is lovely. Oh, I can see it already. Hey! This will be only my third time seeing this cat. But my second experience. The first time was sort of a couple of day experience. Oh, here's the hyena. This is the one that we saw at the water, the one that gave me such a fright. And look at this. Hyena on the one side. Big male leopard on the other side. And this is one of my favorite cats. This is Tingana, who's limping and wants to avoid the hyena as well. Limping quite badly actually. I wonder if he was in a fight or maybe injury from a hunt. Let's see, this might be a little bit of a face-off. Hyena's not too interested. Oh, beautiful. As these big male leopards, they always so impressive to see. There's a dominant territorial male who was actually calling earlier. That's the leopard that we heard vocalizing from far away up in the hide. And he has been calling when the game drivers were sitting here, so absolute treat. There's another vehicle or two coming in. We're going to make space for them. We might not stay here for too long and try and come back later again. As I said, we want to stack the deck for upcoming Big Cat Week. We're in the western area. There's quite a bit more lodge activity, so these guys appreciate it when we help them, and when the time comes, they'll help us. Jonathan again. Oh, sorry. Absolutely beautiful. Sorry guys, I just have to talk to the game drivers quickly. Guys, I'm more than willing to make space as well. A little view now is perfect for us, so if you want to stay, I'll pull out for the next vehicle. Thank you very much. Oh, what a sighting. Always great to see other vehicles arriving. There's one vehicle arriving on. You can see these great smiles on everyone's faces. Really nice of the guys as well. I was offering there to make space for the next vehicle, and the guy that was there before me on the radio let me know. He said no, he's had a great view, they're very happy, we must please stay here because we've got just as important guests on our vehicle. And it's just a lovely thing to hear from the guides, because it's literally what it is. I'm still amazed about this sometimes in terms of what we're doing right now. We're sitting in the middle of the bush. There's two other vehicles here. They've got 6 guests on the one, they've got 7 guests on the other one, and here we are sitting with a great many people from all around the world, all sharing the same experience. Very special. It's also been great to see how well received this has been by the guides on the ground. You know, these are the guys that do this for a living every day. Share the excitement and the beauty and the surprises with their guests. It's just been great to see how they really got on board with what we're doing as well. Guys, we've been sitting the leopard now for a few minutes, and we were just talking about how great it is, the fact that the other guides, the other lodges from this area are really so on board with what we're doing. I was telling everyone just now that, so I was listening to the game drives at the same time as talking, quite a busy radio channel, but I was just saying how I offered to make space for the next vehicle, and the guy that was in front of me, he said, no, he'll go out. His guest has had a great view, and our guests are just as important as theirs. And that was just such a beautiful thing to hear over the radio. It's quite a fraternity almost, if you want, all the guides. So I really liked hearing that. Hello Sherry, always nice to hear a new name. Sherry's asking if the hyena will go for the leopard because it's injured. The hyena's actually left, it sort of went its own way. And well, hyenas don't really go for leopard. It's not like they really eat leopard. It's more just that they will compete. If there was food here, that would be different, and that's exactly what happened earlier. The hyena walked around, the leopard saw the hyena sort of came towards the leopard a little bit, walked around him, in other words would have tested the wind, downwind from the leopard, and the leopard just limped off. He looks a bit injured at the moment, his right foot, and as he walked off, the hyena smelt that there was no food, and the hyena left. There's no interest here. The hyena doesn't want to fight with a big male leopard. He can get injured as well as she could, or the hyena and the leopard could injure each other, so they avoid each other. You could clearly see that, you know, wasn't too much love lost, but at the same time there was a great deal of respect. And there was no reason for them to attack each other. So animals don't like to fight or confront each other unless there's reason. If one is feeling threatened by the other, or one can get food from the other, things like that. But otherwise they prefer to avoid confrontation, because ultimately confrontation can be or can lead to injury. So sorry if I stumble over my words now and again. I have to keep the radio on from the game drives, and while I'm talking I'm listening to what's going on as well. This guy's got a bad limp, bro. Wonder what happened. Maybe a fight. Maybe he and Mvula have finally bumped into each other. Who knows? I'm going to try and stick with him. Ooh, that's lovely. I love it when the other vehicles like them. Big limps. You can see that really limping along. You can see the light reflecting through the eyes. They've got incredible night vision. Yo, that's cool. Right past the other vehicle. Yeah, go for it. The two of us with Tingana, I'll stand back for now so you guys can get the view, and then if I can get a view on the way out, that'll be great, but nothing urgent. Any other movers on standby? Sorry, just to confirm, any other movers on standby for this lock? Okay guys, I'll be pulling out then. I'll try and get a last view on the way out, but the next vehicle can make the way over. Awesome, thank you very much. I'll give you a shot now. I think we're almost on the road, so I'll turn off there. Okay, guys, sorry, just as I said, this part of the world, it's a little bit different from Boitella's side in terms of the vehicle activity. There's other vehicles that are really waiting to see this leopard as well. Their guests have traveled a very far way to experience this, and we're going to get a last look at him, and then we're going to make space for the next vehicles to have a look. But for now, just look how beautiful that is. I absolutely love it when you've got side light like that.
Frame, pong, 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 pong.
Amazing.
Ran back, pong, 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 pong. I managed to track one doing it, an adult doing it. There they go again.
Well folks, we've just been sitting here watching the sun go down, and basically it's gone fully down now. We just sat here just because it's a really nice spot that we could see leopard walking across, or anything for that matter. I'm going to just put some lights on. We had the camera just on a low light level there, but we'll bump it up. I'll just put some lights on for us. We're just sitting in the dark here. It's quite beautiful, and let's just start up, and we'll just go for a little cruise back. What have we got? We've got about 11-12 minutes. Just thought it's just a really nice quiet place to sit, and while Pete was on that leopard, we just thought we'd just sit. And what happens when you do sit for a while, animals come through. It's a really lovely practice if you've got the time to sit in a spot and just be. And what will happen is either just enjoy the African sounds, or you will potentially see a predator come through. We've got these cheeky little crowned plovers over here that have walked right up to the vehicle. These little birds, we've seen them before. It's just off in the light there. It's very hard to see, but they've just been foraging around us for the last sort of 10 minutes, and picking up their last bit of dinner. But we'll move on, and we'll just go along Sandy Patch Road, which is a favourite spot of everyone's, and we'll just get our front headlights on. Get our lights up a little bit. Just let me adjust these lights for us. And see what we can come out with. I'll just get the spotlight out as well, just so we can have a look in the in the vegetation. Let's see what we can find, folks. So with the spotlight, if I look over here, Brian doesn't pan the camera across because you end up going a bit dizzy if he's doing that with the camera all the time. So rest assured that if I do see anything, we'll come to it. I'm just going to pull this one light over here a little bit further in because it's just a little bit off centre for me. There we go. And then get that spotlight back on. And it's these times when you go into this sort of nice vegetation here, you may see a leopard or hyena skulking through. You just never know. But it's prime leopard area up here. I suppose there's prime leopard area everywhere where we are. And what a fantastic day it's been. Absolutely fantastic. Scott this morning doing a wonderful drive, and this is there's a nightjar just sitting on here on the road. I don't want to put my lights in it too much. You just see the little shine of an eye just there. Sitting on the road there, waiting for any unsuspecting insect to fly past. Just a little sign of its eye there. Going to try and find that bird on my app for you folks. Got to keep the engine running because my front lights will go off. Just bear with me for a second. You might see him just jump up and excuse me, I think I swallowed a fly. Going to put a little bit more light on the situation, ever so slightly. And what he will do is, oh, he's just flown off. Okay. Let me just see if I can find him for you. I think it was a fiery necked. I've just got to double check. Bear with me while I just look this up. But beautiful little bird that sits on the road and uses the I really didn't get a good enough look at it. I do apologise, but I'll double check that bird for you. It's one of the nightjars, and I just couldn't get a good enough look at it as it flew off. There's about 4 different species. There's the European nightjar, freckled nightjar, fiery-necked, and rufous-cheeked nightjar. And basically, those birds have this incredible ability to catch insects as they fly past these beautiful whiskers type feathers on their face. So they'll sit on the heat of the road there where the insects are attracted to from the sun coming down on that road, and as they fly past they'll feel them swish past there. They've got a beautiful gaping mouth and they just bang, grab those insects. I'll double check on which one that was for you folks and come back tomorrow. We can add it to our list. Little quick for me to get it exactly in my sights, but a beautiful little bird. Building up a bit of a bird list, folks. We've got some really nice birds. We've got about 35 that we've gone through so far. Common residents, most of them, which is a great way to start with birds, and you make sure that you know the birds that you see quite often. Really nice to keep your birds as part of your game drive, and because you always see birds and always hear birds, and may not always hear or see the bigger creatures. So let's just get that spotlight going again. Impala up ahead here. So remember, we really try not to shine the light in the animal's eyes. We're just moving with it. If we do spot something, we'll just shine it off to the right and just put a little bit of one of these wash lights over it. Impala just over there. As soon as the darkness falls, all animals, particularly the herbivores, well, mainly the herbivores, the prey animals, are on high alert. It's when the predators hunt, or most of them anyway. Cheetah, as we all know, are diurnal, so they're hunting during the day and finding a nice safe spot to sleep at night, away from lion and leopard and hyena. So we're really just going slowly through here. What I'm going to do, folks, is just pull up here now, because we've got about 3 or 4 minutes to finish, and I'll just pull up on this little spot just here in front of us and bid you farewell and just round up the day, because I want to make sure that we just talk about a few of the things that we've seen and just recap on what an incredible experience this is for us and hopefully for you. What a great day. So many things I actually forget where it started today, and I think it was 20 minutes in we saw 5 lion, which was pretty incredible, and it started from there. So I've had one of the most magical days today, and I hope you have too. Brian and I were just talking about, whilst we were sitting watching that sun go down, that elephant encounter and just these impala and all the little things, the hyena cub. Wow. It's a magical place, folks, and we're really lucky to be here and with you, and that's what it's all about. Safari Live is about delivering these beautiful experiences to you wherever you are, but you really are on the back of the vehicle with us. That's the most important thing. The interaction with tweeting and the questions on email and everything makes it so special for us. The stories, the beautiful times that we have with the story like we had today with Lorraine in Michigan and many other things. So it really does sort of put in perspective about what we are doing here. What we're doing here is something really special, one of the most incredible things I've ever done in television, and there's something that you can't quite put your finger on, but if you really do want to just sort of drill down on it, it's being live. Being live is an incredible experience. When you're doing a documentary that you take back and edit, do the take, and then you got that one and you just put it all together and piece the story together. This is how it happens. This is raw, this is real, this is exactly what's happening. It's all the cracks and bumps and hiccups, and you join us along with those, and we really appreciate your support on all that, always. We've got 2 days till Big Cat Week on Nat Geo, Wild and National Geographic Channel. Still on the website, still on WildEarth.tv, and we're going to be with you all the way. We're really excited about it. Tomorrow is going to be a special day, the day before. Got a lot of fine tuning with little things, but most importantly, you are with us on Safari Live. And one of the most incredible experiences of my life I'm having with you. And I'm already a bit sad about it ending at the moment, so I don't want to really think about that. But you know, Scott and Mark Weiner, absolutely sensational guides, as you know, and it'll be great to have them back and do the handover with them. But I just want to sign off, and from Brian and I tonight, it's been a really great day. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We start at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm having a bit of a lie-in tomorrow. There'll be Pete and Scott on drive. I'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon. And Pete and I will be going on that afternoon drive, the one before Big Cat Week. So very, very special night. So from all of us, everyone in the control room, all the team, all Pete, myself, Scott this morning, everyone involved, we wish you a fantastic evening or morning wherever you are, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care, guys. We'll see you just now.
Start and end your day on safari.